Hey guys, Mark Ferrasci, Pro Tech Dog Training. Heading my way into town. I just got done posting. I will post more today. I did a lot of videos. I've been doing a lot of videos, and a lot of them, some of them are not getting posted. But it's only because I figured that I don't need to post them all, right? Just enough of the relative things that are happening on a day-to-day basis, right? So I'm heading into town to get some lunch, and I started thinking, well, I'm just going to go ahead and drive along. Might as well have a yak session. So I just saw a post on Facebook from another trainer that posted out a video of a situation at Home Depot where two dogs got in a fight and there was a bunch of people, and the gentleman that was posting on it was saying basically that there's liability that's there in regards to the public and to responsibility from the trainer, whoever would go into an environment like that they need to be aware of and conscientious of the establishment. You're putting them at risk if you take your dog into that environment and there's an accident, right? And he's totally right. It looked like it was a group class, a lot of people, and then the person that had the original dog didn't even have a leash on him and all that kind of thing. And bottom line is, like I always tell people, what I do in public and what I've been doing for years, and you guys see me doing my videos in regards to using that environment, and then pretty soon everybody picks up on it and they all copycat, and pretty soon that area of discretionary behavior, let's call it, grows, right? When I was doing it many years ago, when I was back with Caesar, over 20 years ago, I used to go into Home Depot and go into other places, anywhere I could find public to be able to work my dogs. This isn't my first rodeo, guys. I've been doing this for a lot of years, and I will say it to you again and again, it is a learned art. There are some specific things as a trainer that you need to do if you're going to go into that environment. The biggest thing is you need to learn to respect the establishment and try not to be wear out your welcome. In other words, going there every day, constantly, all the time, and that's the only place you're training. You're going to become a pain in the ass, right? I go just enough to use what I need to, and then I space it out. I go to other places. I've got one place that I go to almost every day now. It's because I do a lot of shopping there, and they become good friends now. I trust the environment, and I trust them to not be upset, right? That's Tractor Supply, my local, that I built all my relationships up with that small shop, okay? So when I go out to locations and I go into places, I don't just go and just be rude and walk out. I build relationships. I take my time. I make sure that I don't wear out my welcome. I try not to be too, and I do a lot of things that a lot of trainers don't do that some people might see me do that they think are kind of rude. But reality and truth of it, I always am conscientious of who's watching me do it, where's their head at in reflection to me, because a lot of times I just read people real well. And if I feel like I'm got somebody that's a little bit worried about me or that's head tripping about it or whatever, it kind of rubs me, but at the same time it's their place, right? Unless they're on a power trip. I get that every now and then. I've had a manager go on a power trip and then I get upset because that's all it is. It's just a power trip, right? But in a general sense, here's the things that I do when I go out to those environments. I have the attitude that I need to keep my head on a swivel and constantly be watching everything around me. I know that the environment of public and environmental work that I do out in the public, whether it be an outdoor mall, whether it be a park, whether it be no matter where it's at, when I am outdoors, I know that I never have 100% reliability in regards to me being in control of my environment. You never know what's going to happen. And I always keep that uppermost in my mind. So I'm watching 360. If I see a dog, I can see it out of the corner of my eye. I've gotten so good at it over the years. It's a learned art, guys. It's something I've trained myself. But you need to put yourself in the right frame of mind to be good at it, right? Always expect the unexpected. You never know what's going to happen, right? Even though you're good at it, you get better at it. Don't ever take it for granted, because when you least expect it, something's going to happen that you're not prepared for. Be prepared for the unexpected. Learn to keep your head on a 360. Watch for any other dogs and read the person that has that dog's body language. Is it on a leash? Is it under control? What's their demeanor with that animal, right? Do they have any common sense? Some people will come right up on you and say, is your dog friendly? What are you, an idiot? Okay? So reality and truth, I'm constantly watching and observing the dogs, the people, and what their behavior is like, okay? I give you all kinds of great examples because I've learned it from experience. With over probably 20, 30 years doing this in an environment, I've used environments for years. I'm a heavy proponent of it. I don't run a class. He was saying that he thought it was a class. And I don't know if it was or not, but I would never go and have 5 or 6 people, 8 people running, standing around and rely on my amateurs that I am giving a class to and try to teach them how to work their dogs and take the chance that there's not going to be an accident. Remember, it's like Russian roulette. The more bullets you put in the chamber, the more chance you have for an accident. When you have 5 or 6 people there and they have limited skills, and then you have now a lot more dogs around you and things, the odds of you hitting that chamber with a bullet in it are a lot more. Okay? That's why I go by myself and I don't. If I'm ever going to go, and I have done this, if I'm ever going to go out with a customer and have them go to Home Depot or something, it's usually 1 person or 2 people at the max that I would be working with. And we'd be walking through. We wouldn't stop and stand there like we're running a class. We'd be using the environment, right? And then I also have to have the dogs that are at a high enough level in their training that they've got good common sense. I can't have them, my customers, have an aggressive dog. It's not going to work. Now, like this dog that's going through right now, this German Shepherd, that dog, I'm real worried about the skill and the skill level of the customer and having the dog not backslide. And I'm not going to tell her to go out in public right away and start challenging this dog because she doesn't have the skill to do it. Right? She needs to be in a quieter environment. She's got all kinds of things to learn before she starts tightening down the screw and slowly expecting more of that dog to get to the point that she can do the things that I do, right? So one of those little stories I was telling you about, that outdoor mall, I think it was down in Lake Elsinore. They got an outdoor outlet mall. And I'm out there and I see a child running, 2 of them, running down the thing, and I look and I see the children coming my direction. And then I see the parents and their attitude and their body language. They're not watching the kids at all. They have no clue and they're not paying attention. If they are, they're not putting themselves into awareness stage where they're saying, hey, come back here, Jimmy. Any type of control at all. They just let their kids be a brat. And right away I get irritated because that's bullshit parenting as far as I'm concerned. So, but it's still, again, it goes back to my premise. You never have control, 100% control of your environment. Always expect the unexpected. You never know what people are going to do. Most people are idiots, okay? So those kids ran towards me. My dog wasn't aggressive. I had Maury out there at the time. I think it's way back before I sold Maury as an executive protection dog. Very, very under control, very good dog, and I had no problems with him. I just kind of pull him backwards, and I put myself in between the children running at me, and you know, and I check the kids, and then I give a dirty look to the parents. I say, "What are you doing? You know, come on, you're gonna let you have a kid, you know?" And so I have a discussion, and we work it out. But bottom line is, again, it's my environment that I have to make sure that I am 100% responsible for. Okay, and so it's important that you have awareness in the respect that you never have 100% control of an environment. You just don't. You never know what's going to happen. And when you start adding more and more people into the mix and all that good stuff, that's what makes me better than most in handling environments. I've been doing it for so many years, and I've got myself trained. But my mental attitude is what matters. Right? The mental attitude of knowing that I'm responsible, knowing that I don't want to have anything go wrong because I don't want it to reflect on me and I don't want anybody to be hurt and I don't want to face that liability. I'm not going to let it happen. But if it's overwhelming to the dog, it's too much environment on a busy weekend or whatever, I pick my times and my moments and I work my environments accordingly. And that's because I've got a lot of practice, skill over the years doing it. Okay? When you see me doing this, realize that if you haven't done it before and you don't know what you're doing, don't take chances. Start out slow. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying build up your acquired skills. Get your mental attitude in the right mental attitude. And like this person that posted online, they posted the fact that it was kind of rude of this to happen because you're putting the propriety at risk for the liability. And you're asking them to take and they have some of the liabilities in their location. But then somebody else posted a post that reality isn't a public venue and stuff. It's going to lay on the person that owns the dog. It's still going to go back to them. But it really doesn't matter. You don't want to have the situation happen. You don't want a kid come up to a dog and get scarred for life because your dog goes after him or whatever it may be. Remember that you are ultimately in control of that animal and you are ultimately responsible for that situation because you're putting yourself out there in that situation. Respect the fact that everybody has to win, meaning one bad situation because one trainer goes out and does this and has a negative situation happen to them, it's going to reflect on everybody in our profession. Right? And I've said this before. I had a video I did a while back, maybe a year ago, where there was a trainer at Bass Pro that was going there and they asked them to leave. And then I got the feeling right away, I understood why. He was out wearing his welcome. He was there all the time. He was becoming irritant. And then if he doesn't have the ability to carry himself in the right way, that is denoting that he's making sure that he's ultimately responsible and aware of what he's got going on with his dog, they will sense that and they will see that. And they must have had that happen, and he was out wearing his welcome, and they asked him to leave and not come back. I was there, they didn't say a word to me. Why? I carry myself in a different way because I've got a lot of years experience doing this. I build my relationships. I show respect. I make sure that I let them know with my behavior and how I act that I understand it's their location, and I respect that. I always say thank you. Every time I walk out, thanks guys, I'll see you the next time. Whatever it is, I show them appreciation for them giving their time to me and allowing me to be somewhat of a pain in the ass. They're there to make a living, to have their cash registers ring and to make sales and to have their employees do their jobs properly and stocking the shelves and doing everything. The manager's running his crew. He's not there to babysit me as a person that comes into their environment. I am a minor irritant, so I need to earn that. Okay, I need to earn it. I need to build my relationships and show respect and make sure that I show that respect, or I won't be able to go back there again. And if you guys start to see trainers out there, you see me doing this, you need to do the same thing. Be an ambassador for your trade. Be an ambassador for our profession that shows that you respect it and that you know, if they ask you to leave, leave and don't come back, or leave and try to work on the relationship somehow, some way, right? I've never outworn my welcome. I've never had a real bad major biggie other than one manager that wanted to be the boss one day, and I could sense it. It was nothing more than a power trip. And it really, it irritated me because this person was coming at me, and I knew she put on the manager's jacket. That's what she did. And she acted like you're just making noise. Because I knock on things, right? And she came after me. Well, what I did is use my ability at social interaction, and I'm pretty good at it. And I started talking to other people at other Home Depot stores and that kind of thing. And before I knew it, she was no longer there, right? It was boom, it was over with, right? But I worked my social aspects of things, and I'm pretty good at it, right? So in other words, just remember, have your head in the right headspace. Don't do things that are going to put you at risk to have an accident, and or you carrying yourself that you're an accident waiting to happen, right? Grow your skills. Don't go in there expecting to be the world's best and put yourself in a situation that you have something negative happens that's going to be a reflection on you and then reflection on everybody. And then pretty soon, these stores, believe me, they follow each other's posted. They have email lists that communicate back and forth with each other. They have their groups just like we have our groups and dogs, right? And they talk about this stuff. And if you make it bad, if a major situation happens where there's a bad scarring or a dog fight or something, it's not going to be just the one store. Eventually, the corporate's going to come out and say, and they'll stop us from going in, right? And we will no longer have that asset and that benefit to be able to go out and use these dog-friendly locations that we have now. And there's a lot of them, but there's also some possibility for things to get shut real quick. You know, and then it's a reflection on us as a whole. And then we no longer have that quality tool to use. We need that tool to be able to help our dogs, you know. It's very important, okay? So keep it in mind. I'll let you guys go, but I thought it was a very worthwhile post that he posted, and I kind of read a lot of the thread, and then I am now chiming into that whole subject that he kind of scratched the surface on. And he's totally correct, you know. It was a worth a good post. It was well worth, you know, getting into the subject. So that's what I am reaffirming, because I kind of feel like this is something that I do a lot of. I work environment real heavy. And so that being the case, it could be somebody like me that's a reflection on that kind of behavior, that all these other trainers start doing the same thing. But again, you need to set yourself some rules and some standards and a good mental state of mind in how you do that, and be a representative of our profession so that we don't ruin what we need. We need these locations. We have to be able to fix the dogs, and we can't do it without adding the human factor in our environments to our scenarios and to our training regimes, right? All right, I'll let you guys go. Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training, signing off, yakking at the screen about dogs and the profession as usual.